Right, I'm live. Okay. I'm a little bit early tonight because I've got a client who has to do. She wanted to do it earlier than normal. Normally I have her at 7:30, and tonight I've got her at 7. So I'm doing it 15 minutes earlier than normal so that I can accommodate her. And tonight I'm talking about throwing the towel in. Throwing the towel in. And the past week has been a challenge for me. It's been a very difficult time for me. In many ways really, but I've come close to throwing the towel in at points during this week and just closing the business down and saying sod it all, I've had enough, I'm not going to do it anymore. So I've come close to that, and that's a result of a string of events that happened, which is just really mad, wild. I was expecting payment for work I'd already done and work that I'm going to do and certain things, quite a lot of money to come through, and everything didn't come through. So financially I've experienced financial difficulties. About $5,000 I was expecting didn't come, and that led to me experiencing difficulties. I couldn't pay my bills, I couldn't pay what I wanted to do, and so on. So that left me in a rather precarious position, because I was stressing over that. I was stressing over the money. Where's my money? Why isn't it coming in? And what am I going to do? And so on. So you can get into that sort of a low energy sort of mindset when you start stressing over things like money, which is normal. We all do it. We all have a stress reaction when it's over things such as money. And it's normal in the current climate, which we're all going through. So it resulted in me, questioning everything really, the whole essence of my business, and keeping going throughout what is a very difficult time financially for lots of people. And especially obviously if you know anything about being self-employed, where you're not guaranteed the paycheck at the end of the month, it can be a difficult time for a lot of people, small businesses, to keep going through a time which is precarious and uncertain. So it can be hard when you don't get money coming through, but you expect it to get through. So that's normal to have a stress reaction around something like that. And what happens is when you have a stress reaction, you start looking at things from a much lower energy perspective, and you start seeing problems instead of opportunities, and so on. So you hold yourself back from moving forward. So in that situation, I question myself. I question the work that I do to help others, often for free. This is a show that I do for free to help others, for instance, stuff like this. So I was not going to do the show tonight. I was going to say, sod the show, I'm not doing it anymore. And that was that. And I was also looking at things like, the amount of money I've given away over the years, thousands of pounds to people who have never repaid me, people who needed help, and I was there to help them financially and in other ways as well, and never see a penny of that back. So you start questioning yourself. I'm a soft touch, I'm a pushover, and I've been told that by people who care about me, and I've argued with them in the past, and fallen out with them over that. But the reality is I am a soft touch sometimes. If I see someone who needs help, I will help them, and I don't always ask for money in return of what I should do in terms of that. And people have taken advantage in the past, and that's just part of life and learning and growing. So I did consider walking away completely this week. I thought I've had enough of this, and I was in that frame of mind where I was telling myself it would be easier just to walk away and get a normal job and not have to worry about having a wage at the end of the month, because as a self-employed business or small business, this is the thing, you're not guaranteed a wage at the end of the month, so you're always working double hours than most people probably would, because you don't have a time off. You don't get home at 5 and that's it, switch off. You're working all the time. So a lot of people I don't think realize that when you run a business, it's a full-time job all the time. So you're constantly working. And so, I was focusing on that and the fact that I hadn't been paid, and started questioning everything and started thinking, well, I've given away all that money and I wish I had, and now look at where I'm, all of these things were going through my mind at that time. So I wasn't in a very good frame of mind. And this is why I wasn't, doing the things that I normally would do, which would help me gain more work, business, and so But then I was reminded of a few things, which woke me up from my feelings of self-pity, frustration, victimisation, all of these things that I was feeling at that time when I had that stress reaction, and helped me refocus more on the reasons why I have worked so bloody hard to build my business over the last couple of years to where it is now, which is literally doing so well in terms of the people I'm working with. As I said before, I've got so many great clients who I'm helping, who I've helped transform their lives. I'm doing speaking events, and I've got loads of things lined up in the new year. So on the surface on that, yeah, great. Everything's great. But the money's not there now. It's in the future. So yes, there's loads of wonderful things going on, but if you can't pay the bills now, you're in a difficult time. So this is the situation I was faced with earlier this week. So, but what that situation did, it helped me focus more on the reasons why I've worked so hard to build the business in the first place, and the life that I now enjoy within me as a person, because I'm now happier than I've ever been in my life, despite the fact that the money's not there this week, and there's loads of things I'd love to improve in life. But as me as a person, mentally, emotionally, physically, I've never been happier. I've never been fitter. I've never been happier, and that's because I practice what I preach in terms of my work. So, but firstly, my clients. I spoke to 2 clients this week, and when I was in that low frame of mind, this was, and I said to them, listen, I'm probably going to close my business down because and I won't probably be out of work with you moving forward. And the reaction I got sort of sparked me out of that sort of low energy mindset a little bit, because it was firstly through shock. They were in shock that I was even thinking about this, and second, it was like horror. And the horror was because the work that we're doing together is completely transformed their lives completely from inside out, and they're now much happier in every area of their lives. They're much more confident. They've got more work-life balance. They're more self-accepting of themselves. In general terms, all the different areas of their lives are more optimal and productive than they ever had before in their entire lives. So they're seeing the value of the work that I do, even if they didn't beforehand, because a lot of people before they get into this sort of stuff will see the cost, the monetary cost, before they see the actual value of the work that we do together. And that's normal, because most people don't understand what the process actually entails. They see it from their own perspective, usually from the perspective or the mindset or the way of thinking that's created their issues in the first place. So they don't see the value, they're only seeing the cost to them in terms of how much it's costing in monetary terms. You see, I really am the best of what I do, and I'm not being big-headed and all of that. I am. Ask my clients who I work with. I'm the best at what I do one-to-one. Most people don't see that, and they see this show, they see a few posts, and they think that's what I do. And it's not. It's really not. And there's so much more to what I do. And furthermore, people just don't understand what I do. And that's difficult, because you can't really explain it to people, because it's a process that it takes time to learn and understand and put into practice and everything else. So that is until they obviously start working with me, and then they start seeing the changes and they start living it, and that's when they see the value. And that's the beauty of this process. It really is wonderful. So most people will judge from afar and make assumptions and judgments about the work that I do. And that means that they have doubts. They talk themselves out of it. They don't believe it. They approach it with a very closed mind in the beginning, so they don't open up and see themselves, see different possibilities. And that it's truly possible to actually fully transform your life in every area of your life. So quite simply, they fail to see the true value in an investment in themselves, and instead try and focus on fixing every area of their life before they invest in themselves. It's a cockeyed way of doing it, really. And let me just get this in place, let me just sort that bit out, let me sort that, and then I'll worry about myself. It doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. You'll never sort your life out before you sort yourself out. And instead of focusing only on the monetary cost, you're not looking at the value of the actual service as a whole. And the majority of clients I work with will agree that the initial investment that they've made financially far outweighs the overall value that they receive in the long term, in the long run. And another thing helped me refocus last night. It was my coach, Jeffrey St. Laurent. He did a show about how it's important to show up consistently, even when you don't feel like it, even when you feel sick, not happy, whatever it may be. And I wasn't going to do this show tonight. I was going to jog it on. I thought, sod it, I can't be bothered. And I thought to myself when I saw his show, why, sod that, I'm going to do it, and I didn't want to do it at the time, but I thought I'm going to do it. So, the truth is, people do see the value in what you do. You tell yourself, and again, it's the same thing as the other way around, was when people don't see the value in what you're doing. I tell myself, so people don't see the value in what I'm doing. The truth is they do. I get messages all the time. Not everyone does, but a lot of people do. And, telling me how they've learnt this or they've transformed their life in that way or so on. And one other thing also helped me get back on track, back into a much more healthier mindset after the severe stress reaction that I'd experienced this week and continue to deal with, but it's not a problem for me as much as it was, because I'm looking at it from a different perspective now. And that was my reflections about when I was in prison. There was times in prison when I literally did not want to get out of bed in the morning. Every day I did get out of bed though and went to work. I didn't want to get out of bed. I felt mentally, emotionally, physically shot to pieces. I just literally didn't want to get out. I wanted to lay there and just die, really, and not move. But I still got up and went to work every day. And that's called resilience. When life gets tough and you feel like throwing in the towel, that is when the real tough people get up and keep going. I've learned a lot this week, and I did in prison, and I've learned not to have any expectations of other people or support. Often when we expect things from other people or money or things that happen or whatever it may be, we become disillusioned or disappointed when these things don't materialize. And I made that mistake this week. I focused on certain things happening, and when it didn't happen, I became disappointed and disillusioned, and that affected every other area of my life. So truth is, there is only one person you can ever really focus, rely on in life, and that's you. That's yourself. I've also learned to value what I do more, and not give away what I do for free or devalue it in some way. Even if other people don't see the value of it, I do. I know the value of it. And if people don't want to see that, then fine. That's good. That's fine. Just go and find someone else who doesn't charge as much as I do. So, the truth is, if you want results, you've got to pay for that. And that's the truth of the matter in life. And, but the truth of the matter is the value far outweighs any sort of monetary investment when you look back on it over a period of time. So you learn as you go along, and if you want to become the best version of yourself, you have to rely on yourself in life and become resilient, become strong, and keep going when things are tough. And we're going through very tough times at the moment. A lot of people are. So it's very important and that we do remember that right now. So I will be keeping going my show for a little while longer until I decide I don't want to do it anymore. So until then, have a good night. See you soon. Bye.